G'day and welcome to Star Citizen. Today we are taking a look at one of the more successful concept ships, but also the most controversial, and that is the Aegis Vanguard. More specifically, we are taking a look at these two variants here, which are the only two currently available in the game, which is the Vanguard Warden, which is a combat ship, basically a heavy fighter, and then the Hoplite, which is a dropship. There are two other variants as well. There is the Harbinger, which is a bomber, and the Sentinel, which is an electronic warfare ship. See if I can get that said right. But yes, those two are not actually flyable at the moment, nor do they exist in game. So we'll have a look at the Warden first, because it is the original ship. It is a heavy fighter, the Vanguard being pitched as being a long-range heavy strike attack machine. So as a result, it's kind of, as many always like to say, it's compared to a bit to an A-10. Chris Roberts himself tends to compare it to the P-38 of World War II because he liked that fighter. So it is a twin-engine, long-range, heavy brawler. The idea being it can go a long way, take a lot of hits, but be sort of the vanguard of any strike force. The point to do that is this great big gun under the nose. If you can see here, it is a size 4 Apocalypse Arms Revenant Gatling, appropriate name and nicely detailed as you can see there. And above it you've got 4 guns built into the nose. These are size 2s. They're not actually removable at the moment, those, but this nose gun you can swap out for a size 5. So you can put the same gun as the Starfarer's dorsal turret on this, so that is a lot of firepower for a ship that is not actually that big. It's about the size of a Freelancer. On the top up there you've got 2 more guns. You've got what are they, size 2s? Yep, size 2 sawbucks, so they're ballistic weapons. So this is a ballistic heavy loadout aside from the nose guns, so that it will get through shields pretty much instantly, which is not bad. We'll take a look around the ship. Interesting sleek cockpit. The centralized weapons, by the way, are what I really like about this ship. This is the only one I can actually do semi-okay at in combat, simply because all the guns are in one spot. So there's no convergence, and I'm not going to crash into things and break my guns off. Though, unfortunately, the turret is not usable at the moment by the pilot. That requires a second person. Giant reverse thrust engines here, which are great. I wish more ships had them because, well, you got to have a lot of power to go forwards, but you need the same to go back. Swept wings, as is the Aegis style, in the retracted state at the moment, with 42 written on them because, of course, you know, Squadron 42 and all. The tail there with the Aegis logo, looking pretty nice. Duck around here to the engines with their odd thruster shape. They're kind of cool, but I'm not sure why you'd build them like that. Duck under here. Just have a look here. This is where you board the ship. You've got these weird cross beams here. I think they're meant to be reinforcement structs. And then you've got some smaller strafing thrusters in there as well. And then under the wings you've got some missiles, some size 2s there. So let's open the boarding ramp. And we'll take a look inside. Interesting that you get that little bit that comes down. Also, the sound seems to go on a lot longer than the animation does. But yeah, so you board the ship and it opens up. This is the little tail area. Not a lot going on in it. This is the central section of the ship. Now, this is where the variants differ, in that the idea of the ship was this whole section is a pod. It is a survival pod that can be swapped out, but it's also jettisoned, the idea being if you have to abandon ship, instead of ejecting into the void of space because you're a long way from home in this ship's design, you would have this little pod here that can keep you alive for a while. So you've got 2 beds because it is a 2-person ship. You've got an engineering station here, it doesn't do a lot right now. We've got a gun rack hidden away in the side. You got the customary toilet and shower as always. A little bit of lockers there, can't use them at the moment, but there's some storage. And then a tiny little kitchenette that doesn't actually have anything right now. I like this says authorized personnel only, as if you're going to be carrying passengers in this. And then up there is the turret on top. Step through here and you've got the neck that leads to the pilot's chair. Now this is obviously where the pilot flies from, and it's got a pretty decent view. We'll have a look at that later. But yeah, this overall design of the ship has been somewhat controversial in the community, simply down to the fact that it looks a bit different to the concept art. Especially like these landing gear here, you can see they are skids. In the original concept art, they are tracked wheels. Of course, tracked wheels don't make a lot of sense at all, especially for a machine that flies, but hey, it had them and people are disappointed that it doesn't have them in game. Also, there's a lot of complaints that it shares parts with other Aegis ships, but in my opinion it should share parts. I mean, that's what any realistic manufacturer would do. They wouldn't just make something special and unique just for one thing. But yeah, so that is the Warden, that is the long range combat fighter. Of course, we don't actually know what long range and combat means in the game yet. Well, we know what combat is, but the long range combat isn't really a thing yet, so yeah. But it is described as being a ship that could take a lot of beating and return home with a single engine or so, and it can sort of do that in game. It is quite a durable vessel. But we'll move on to the Hoplite here. This is the dropship variant. Now this one broke the mold of the Warden there, so this one is sort of a special snowflake in that you can't make the Warden into a Hoplite and the Hoplite can't be made into a Warden. The other three variants, or the other two variants, sorry, the Harbinger and the Sentinel, they can be all customized to do the same job as the Warden and vice versa, because SIG, Cloud Imperium Games, decided to confuse things even further and introduce Battlefield upgrade kits, which basically allow you to take one of these ships and give it the same equipment of one of the other ships in the family. That is, at least, until we got the Hoplite here, which uses a slightly different airframe, so as a result it can't have those fits to it. Which is a shame, and this ship also came out during a time where the community wasn't particularly happy, so it hasn't seen that big of a success, which is a shame because it's a well-designed ship and it looks nice. It just, well, you know, had bad timing, shall we say. But it has the same weapons fit as the Warden there, as you can see. Exactly the same gun armament, the same missiles, and externally it looks pretty much the same. It's just got this nicer green paint scheme, which I prefer over the grey of the Warden there. But when we duck under here, this is where the difference is. For we've got a much larger hold for a start, because this doesn't have the survival pod. This trades it out for the groups for containing the troops instead. So much wider ramp, not a wamp. And we climb up here and you'll see straight away we got all these chairs for carrying troops. We've got 6 chairs, so you can carry 6 troops here, and the gun racks for all their equipment. So you can see this area is a lot larger seeming than the Warden's, because it makes a bit better use of space by not having a bulkhead here and actually doing stuff in this space. There's the turret access, same as before, and some more controls, which I'm not sure what they are. You've got ADF, so that's classic aviation navigation, and I'm not sure about everything else. And there's an auto and manual switches there for some reason. But yeah, so this pod can't be removed, so that's why you can't convert the ship into the others, because this doesn't have a survival pod. Go through here and you'll see it's basically exactly the same in the nose. Again, what looks to be like lockers here. And we'll take this one for a fly, so we'll get into the pilot's seat. Climbs around. So here we are. And you'll see it uses pretty much the standard HUD of any Warden ship, or any Aegis ship rather. Got some graphic glitches going on at the moment with this radar dish thing. It shouldn't be sticking out like the way it is, but yeah. Also, you'll notice another one of the big complaints about the ship, which is most of the information is on these panels. And as you can see, the panels are kind of hard to read. They're especially hard to read in the middle of a fight, so you can't really do a lot with them. I mean, you can see I'm trying to focus on them, but it's difficult, takes a while to do, and there's really better ways to do it. But we'll take off. We'll put the gear in. And yeah, the Warden handles quite well. This is the Hoplite, but they handle exactly the same as far as I can tell. We'll go out to max speed here. You'll see it accelerates nice and fast. 745 is the top speed, so it can outrun a decent number of ships. And then if we slow down, you can see back to the cruising speed. Oh, that music's a bit loud for me. It won't be for you, but yeah. So then we drop down to 145. When it first came out, it could do like 1,000 in cruise, so it was a really fast ship. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that anymore, but hopefully it will get some of that speed back, as that seems to be a good point for this ship having its massive engines. But yeah, it handles quite well. I'm just doing some spins here. You'll see here it sounds pretty cool as well. But yeah, it handles well, it strays well. It's got quite a decent punch now, it didn't used to, but some fixes to its guns have made it do a lot better than it used to. And there we are, flying around with the wings extended. So you can see, we get some boosts there, how the thrusters work. Pretty cool look to them overall. But yeah, one of the other controversies surrounding this ship is at the moment simply down to what can it do. The Warden, like I said, and the Vanguard, I don't know why I keep saying just the Warden, probably because it was the first ship flyable. But yeah, the Vanguard was pitched in concept as being a hard-hitting, long-range fighter. However, we don't really know what that means in terms of gameplay at the moment, because all we have is very short-range combat where every ship can fight each other in either an arena or here in Crusader, and as such, the smaller, more agile ships, namely the Hornet that carries heavier firepower and is more agile, can out-dogfight a Warden. Now that is where I tend to disagree with a lot of people in that the Vanguard shouldn't be a ship for dogfighting. That is not its role. Instead, it is a ship that I see being the classic boom and zoom tactic, just like the P-38 and such used in World War II, where the ship would or the plane rather, would come in fast, it would do its strike, and then it would keep going. It wouldn't hang around because, well, interceptors could beat it, but it wasn't designed to be taking on interceptors. Now, another role that this ship could fill in is another one that I actually compare the ship a lot to, and that is the P-62 Black Widow, which is a nighttime fighter in World War II, made by Northrop, and that one was actually quite effective. It looks very similar, dorsal turret on top, multi-crew, 2 engines, and that seems to be, to me anyway rather, the ship that could do that role as well, you know, heavy hitting and strike from below or whatever. So this could take on, say, tallies, retaliators. It should be a nasty ship for that. But yeah, we shall see. Oop, just some messing around here. But yeah, so that is the Vanguard series. They're an interesting ship, provided you don't mind some of the issues they come with at the moment. I certainly enjoy them, but yeah, until next time, I'm Denodon, this is Star Citizen, safe landings.